That was weird. Anyways, I'm excited, and I just had to freaking make a food vlog. Last night I was talking to a friend, and then I was talking to another friend, and mac and cheese came up. And so my brain, like always, wandered, and it opened a realm of recipes that just would not shut up. And I was like, okay, stop thinking, shut off. I sent the recipe to a friend, and I was like, you gave me this new idea. And I made the first one today. The second one, where's the list? It's in a cup or measuring cup, I think. Anyways, made a double batch of sauce. It's fantastic. I made 2 crusts. I'm gonna replicate something else tomorrow in the bundt pan. Okay, the idea is macaroni and cheese, deep dish pizza. And I figured I make so many different macaroni dishes and I make so many pizzas, it's time to mix them. And that's what I did. Right here. Look at this gorgeous mother freaking thing. Look at that. I made it in a square pan, because that's the only one I really had. I don't have a skillet, or I would have done it in that. But look at that. Perfectly golden in 16 minutes. That's all it took to cook the crust. And inside is a hot dog pesto mac and cheese. Everything you see here, made from scratch. I made the mac and cheese with 2 cheeses, and the pesto, I made it myself. The crust, made it myself. It's freaking fantastic. And I'll tell you, this crust, what I did was made the hot dogs by boiling them with the macaroni. Then I cut them, and while that was cooling down, I was making the white sauce with unsalted butter. It's very important that it's unsalted. Oh my god, it's so freaking good. I tasted it when it came out of the oven. Didn't burn my mouth. It was delicious. Okay. After you've boiled the hot dogs with the macaroni, because here's how it started. I wanted to make it from scratch, and I was like, okay, it's just a test recipe, Johnny. Calm down, make craft. I burned the cheese. I didn't burn the noodles, so I was like, okay, looks like I am making it from scratch. Screw you, Kraft mac and cheese. First time I think I've ever burned it, by the way. I was doing dishes and got distracted. So I made the macaroni cheese from scratch with the noodles. And once that was done, I set the noodles and hot dogs aside. And then I made the sauce in the same pan that I cleaned out, because it was burned cheese. Ew, nasty. Grated some provolone, some marble jack. I added salt because there was unsalted, and provolone's not very salty, and neither is marble jack. It was a very white sauce. I think it's one of the first successful white macs I've ever made. So good. No graininess, no flouriness. Smooth, beautiful. I'm so glad I have an extra sauce. Anyways, then I made the crust. That was rising. I think I made the noodles and hot dogs. Set those aside, made the crust, and while that was rising, I was making the sauce. Then I mixed the pasta and the hot dogs after cutting them into the sauce, and then I rolled the crust out, put it in a square thing, gently tucking it in, made sure I sprayed it first, and I cut any excess crust off, but as this turns out, I don't need to do that, but cut excess off if you need to, depending on how big the pan is. And then took some hot red enchilada sauce as pizza sauce, because it would have dried out otherwise or burned. So I poured a layer of that on. Then I poured the cooled slightly macaroni cheese and hot dogs. I poured that in there. Then I folded over, but left a little like conch shell looking crack in the center of it. Threw it in a 450 degree oven, and 16 minutes to 20 minutes. It was perfect. Absolutely perfect. Cooked perfectly. Perfectly delicious. It stayed gooey, moist, delicious. You could add an egg if you're worried. Eggs and macaroni. But I think I'll save that for the bundt because I really want that to hold its shape. It sort of spilled out but it wasn't like a messy spill when I cut it. I mean, as you can see, it still kind of got a corner. It held its shape. But, yeah, I think the bundt one, which is my next recipe, the bundt pan, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put the pizza crust in it. I'm going to fill it with the macaroni. I'm going to make it spicy. I'm not going to use the enchilada sauce. I'm just going to put, like, some kind of spicy pepper, either jalapeno, ghost, or habanero. And then I'm going to put it in this bundt pan. Oh, I'm going to mix an egg into it, like a carbonara, pasta carbonara. That's what I call macaroni when I crack an egg into it. And, yeah, the egg, once it's cooked, off the heat so it doesn't scramble. And I'm going to put it in the bundt pan, bake it probably, again, at 450, because that's what gets this pizza crust perfect. And then I'm going to flip it over, once it's cooled, and slice it into bundt cake wedges of delicious mac and cheese pizza something. And now that I've done this successfully, I want to try it with olives. You can put pepperonis on top if you want. You can do any pizza topping under the sun. Just mix it in the mac and cheese. You can use even pizza sauce if you want. But I thought enchilada sauce would add a nice spicy kick to it since, you know, it was kind of a boring macaroni. I mean, it's not a boring macaroni. I'm going to make that recipe again. Pesto is delicious. I'm just going to ramble on and on. Point is, I've made a lot of good new recipes, and the last one is, before I run out of time, mac and cheese pot pie. Pie crust is the idea, and I'm going to put it in a pie pan, put the mac and cheese, homemade, or out of a box, whatever, put it in there, put the crust over the top, make some slits so it doesn't burst, or prick it with a fork, whatever, bake it in the oven, and mac and cheese pie. You can do, I was going to think about putting like mushroom or cream of something soup in it, so it would make it like a more of a delicious, creamier pie, and not just macaroni so heavy. And, oh, I was going to put peas in this. Tuna mac and peas. There's so many different recipes that you can do with this, but the ideas of a macaroni and cheese pot pie, a macaroni and cheese deep dish pizza, had to share it. So, it's Monday, people. The day is young. It's 3 o'clock. I might test another recipe. I really want to try the cookie bottom cheesecake mini ones in the muffin tins. That's just another good idea I haven't tried yet. But I'm on fire this month. It's a really good month for me for recipes so far. Bye-bye. See you next time.